All right, so today is the day you guys have been asking for a long time, and we're gonna jump right into a van tour on my 2012 Nissan NV 2500. Let's check it out. All right, so we'll start with this side door here. Now, everything we have set up in here is all through Ranger Design. The toolboxes, the parts tower there, the actual shelving that I have with all the Milwaukee boxes, everything in here, the partition, even the flooring, it's all through Ranger Designs. And it all works together, it's pretty cool. So the flooring has this T-track set up to where these boxes bolt down to it, the shelving bolts down to it, even my 5-gallon bucket bolts down to it. So it's pretty neat. All right, so I'm gonna work over here on this side first. On top, I've got a little knee pad that's easy, quick and accessible to get to because you gotta be protecting those knees when you're working. 2 levels, 2-foot and a 4-foot level. Those fit in there nicely, nice and snug, nothing moves around. And then right in this little cavity, I have a set of fish sticks, so if I'm pulling any wire above a ceiling or anything really through a wall, this helps me do that. And then the pole that I use to remove the ladder up on top of the van is right in here as well. And sometimes I'll store some extra like PVC or some kind of piping that I need. 5-foot sections fit in there perfectly. So, all right, the next thing I'm gonna go ahead and go into this box here. This is a 20-inch box. So what I do on all 3 of these actually, I set these up seasonally. What that means is depending if it's heating season or cooling season, I will set and design these boxes up accordingly. That way, I have what I need for that particular season. So right now in here, I have my knee pads. I have a set of hand towels. I like to clean my hands whenever I'm done before I get back in the van. I've got the Fieldpiece wireless probe set. So this has 3 duct psychrometers, 2 pressure probes, and 2 clamps, pipe clamps. And then down in here, I've got some quarter pressors, 5/16 and 1/4 inch. I actually have 2 1/4 inch in there. So that way I have everything I need for all of those wireless probes. I keep my tool bag, as you can see here. If you want to know about this bag and how I have it set up, I have another video specifically on this tool bag alone. I'll link it down in the description. Check it out if you want to. And then back here, I've got my scales by Fieldpiece, so refrigerant scales. I've got my infrared refrigerant leak detector. This is the DR82. This is a really good leak detector. And then I also have a Hillmore pipe cleaning kit. So this is for when we're doing change outs and we need to clean the inner diameter of the suction line, right? If we're reusing the pipe, we want to remove any residual oil from an older system to the newer system. And that's what this kit does. I'm going to make a separate video just on how this works. But we've been doing a ton of installs lately, and cleaning those line sets out has been something we've been doing a lot of, so it lives right here. And then lastly, I've got a 2-foot Malco bending bar. This just seems to be the best spot for that, so that's where that stays. That's pretty much it for this drawer. I like to keep my drawers nice and simple, not overcrowded, so things are easy to get out of, or to get in and out of. All right, this next drawer here, as you can see, is nothing but capacitors. Got start capacitors, run capacitors. I mainly use these global ones for now. They seem to be working out nicely, but I have them all labeled so I know what I have. They're all in order. And I got some turbo 200s. These are the universal style, the big guys. And then back there, I've got some other start capacitors and things like that. So again, I set this up because it's summer. I have all capacitors in here. We use a ton of those. In the winter time, you're gonna start seeing more heat sequencers and relays and hot surface igniters, things like that. Stuff that we use all the time. The top drawer is another tool drawer. So starting off here, we have, it's all Milwaukee. We have, this is like the tool, the bits for your drill. Right, so anything you need there. This is the drill bit set. And then this is an SDS, like hammer drill bit set. Newest edition, Supco Trade Fox. This is the Jumper King. This thing's awesome. I'll make a separate video about that. Of course, I got my hammer drill in here, some extra, no, these aren't extra. These are the Fieldpiece probes for checking duct static pressure or like gas valve pressure, things like that. So those live right here. The next thing here is, this is my little miniature socket set. So I try to keep exactly what I need, not anything more. This is a small little Vito zippered bag, and I've got metric standard, I've got deep well, standard, you know, shallow extensions, 3/8 drive ratchet. So that all lives right there. And then beyond that, I've got a couple meters in here. I like to keep a spare meter just in case. These are a couple products by Supco. This is the ECM Pro. So if you're checking any ECM motors and you want to make sure that it's not the circuit board or if it's the motor, this is a little tester that you can utilize for that. And this is something I'm going to be making a video on shortly, all by itself. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to just set that aside for now. And then this other one here is just a capacitor tester. This is the MFD10. This thing is pretty cool. So it has the leads in here. They got magnetic tips to it. So if you need a separate spare capacitor tester, you got one right there. So I like to have redundancy because, you know, sometimes things don't work right and you want to have a way to be able to check when you're out in the field. All right, this tool bag here is set up for the MDM6. This is a dual port manometer. So I have the wireless, the probes here, and I also have this set up too. So again, redundancy is key, but this is set up, it's got all the tubing that I need, all the fittings that I need, and that way if you got to check airflow or gas pressures or anything like that, you have a whole kit ready to go. And then beyond that is just a bunch of PPE. I got extra set of gloves, respirator, just a standard little dust mask, and some goggles. So that all lives back in there whenever I need it. But yeah, everything fits in here nice and neat. Let me show you something. Look how close these boxes fit in there. I mean, like a 1/16 of an inch. That's super crazy. All right, so we're gonna move on to the tower, what I call the tower, the parts tower. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, and they're all set up for different fittings and parts. As you can see, I have everything labeled here with the label maker. PVC, electrical PVC, controls, wire, refrigerant, miscellaneous, and RLS fittings down there at the bottom. So this is where I stock everything I need for service calls, installs, maintenances, and it's just, it keeps everything super organized, and these actually hold quite a bit of materials. So, and what I do is I stock, again, things for installs on here because I like to use this van for installs. I don't want to bring the trailer every single time, so I want to have what I need in here as well. So what I do basically on a weekly basis, I'll go through and replenish any parts that I need depending on what kind of jobs we did this previous week. So like for now, we've been super busy doing installs and change outs. So like tape, thermostat wire, PVC fittings, electrical fittings, I got to replace. And the way that I like to do that is through the Bluon app. So if you haven't used the Bluon app, I highly recommend you guys jump on board, download it. They actually offer multiple things like tech support, manuals on pretty much every model that's out there. If they don't have it, you let them know and they'll add it. But it's just a very nice resource as an installer, as a technician. So if you're working on a piece of equipment and you need the manual to, I don't know, check static pressure, you can plug in the model number and it'll pop up all the manuals for that piece of equipment. It's pretty nice. So what they've added lately is where you can go on there and order truck stock. You can order parts directly through your parts house. And then you can, one, have it delivered to your shop or wherever you're working, kind of like Uber Eats, which is pretty cool. Or you could just have it ready on wheel call and you pick it up whenever you're ready. And that's typically what I'll do. I'll order all my parts for the week, have them sitting on wheel call so I don't have to go there and waste a bunch of time ordering the stuff, talking to the people. I just go pick up what I need and I'm out. As a one-man operation, that is how I have to operate because I don't have a ton of time to do everything. I have to make sure that I'm in and out, I'm being efficient with my time, because I'm wearing all the hats. I'm doing everything within the business. So I got to keep things rolling. I got to keep on moving. So anyhow, that's what I do. I jump on the app once a week, order all my truck stock or any other parts I might need for the following week, and just go pick it up on wheel call. It's pretty awesome. So I'll leave a link down in the description for you for Bluon. If you haven't downloaded it already, or if you're not using it as much as you should, I recommend really trying it out. I think it's going to make your life a lot easier. So we're going to move on up to this is my vacuum pump made by Fieldpiece. This is the VP87. It's an 8 CFM pump. This thing is awesome. You can change the oil during runtime, and it takes like 30 seconds. So super easy, no mess. Up here at the top is the Fieldpiece recovery machine. This is the MR45. It's got the 0 stop feature, which is really nice. It automatically shuts off whenever it hits 0 PSI. It's got some other cool features too. I'm gonna make a separate video just on that, but that's my go-to setup for recovery machine and vacuum pump. Over here in the corner, I've got a Milwaukee M12 shop vac. This thing is pretty awesome. It actually came with a little mount, and it has this little hook on the back. But this is the fuel version. It's small, compact, it's got plenty of power, and with the newer batteries that they have, it lasts a long time too. So, but what's cool is you just hook it right there on that little thing, and it sits. I mean, this thing doesn't go anywhere. I've got a couple extension cords in the back. I've got 2 Supco magnetic umbrellas, one back here, and then I just got this newer black version, sits right here. So, umbrellas are a must-have, in my opinion, must-have. All right, so we're moving down here. We have one main shelf in this van, and I purposely ordered the 18-inch depth shelf because that's what fits a Milwaukee box. The traditional ones, they're just too shallow. They won't fit the boxes. So I got the 18-inch depth, and I've been fooling with this over the past 6 months or so, constantly moving boxes around, figuring out what I like and how I like it set up. I'm not going to go into the contents of everything that's in here because this would be like an hour-long video. If you want to know specific contents in each box, you can either leave a comment down below, or you can DM me on Instagram and let me know, hey, I like that kit you have. Can you tell me what's more in that box? And I'll go into that at that point. But basically, this whole setup here is my cooling maintenance setup. I grabbed this, it has my hose, my cleaners, my brushes, my spray nozzles. It also has a transfer pump in there. So whenever we're moving water from an overflow pan, we don't have to sit there and vacuum out the pan over and over and over and bring the water down. I have a pump, it sucks the water out, and I shoot it directly into the drain line after I've cleaned it out, obviously, and you can pump all that water out quickly. I'll make a video about that as well. That's a good video topic. This compact box here has some just overflow Milwaukee tools that I don't use on a daily basis. Some like metal shears, 2-inch PVC cutters, a little blower, things like that. Some extra chargers, that's where they sit. This crate has got duck mud, brushes, silicone, some overflow tape, because I keep most of my tape over here. And then coming on down here, got 2 boxes. All right, this one is a mini split kit. I have everything I need in this box to perform connections for the copper lines on mini splits. So cutting the copper, cleaning the copper, flaring the copper, bending it. Everything I need lives in this box. So I can just grab it, go to the job, and I pretty much have every tool that I need for that. All right, so in this box, this is gonna be my RLS kit. So if you haven't heard of RLS, you've probably been living under a rock, but I'll let you know. It is a refrigerant pressing kit. So you can press, so my kit that I currently have, I can press 1 1/8" fittings all the way down to 1/4 inch in all sizes in between. So I love RLS. I love pressing refrigerant lines. It makes my job a lot easier, a lot faster. So anyhow, this kit has everything I need in here to do that. And then I keep a couple fittings in there, like 3/8 and 3/4. That's what I use the most of. But everything else lives down in that organizer down there. So that's what's in this shelf here. These 2 main boxes is where I keep extra parts. So for like installs, we have cork pads, you know, thermostats, extra oil for the vacuum pump, metal duct strap, extra PVC fittings, extra rolls of tape, things like that. It's kind of like an overflow setup for all the parts and stuff that I need. Moving on down to this one here, we've got, this is set up for recovery, and then I have one that's identical to it set up for evacuations. So you grab this box, you grab the machine that you need, and you can go do what you need to do. Now, so this is the recovery, so I have multiple hoses with 3/8 and 1/4 inch fittings because I use a 3/8 dryer to filter out the refrigerant before it goes in the machine. So if you didn't know already, when it comes to pulling vacuums or recovering refrigerant, I don't use manifolds. I like to use core removing tools to remove the core, and then I use big or larger inner diameter hoses because it flows the refrigerant a lot faster. You're recovering a lot faster than you would if you used manifolds. So I keep everything that I need in here to do that. And then this one's the same way. It has all the hoses and micron gauges and fittings and stuff that I need to be able to pull a vacuum. I like to keep the hoses separate. So recovery, you're dealing with refrigerant always going through it. And then my vacuum hoses, they stay nice and clean because I never run refrigerant through them. I'm pulling a vacuum, I'm removing them. Refrigerant never goes through them. So that's gonna speed up your vacuum process if you don't have oil residue inside your hoses. So, all right, and then these two larger boxes here are gonna be tools. This has got like SDS drill, bandsaw, angle grinder, things like that, and all of the necessary you know, bits that go with it, like the tool to remove the the actual grinder wheel and the grinder wheels themselves, things like that. They all live in there together. This box has my whole hog, which is the big handheld drill, to where you can drill holes, and I have all the hole saws and everything in there. So if we need to drill holes for like running line sets or whatever, everything you need is in that box. And then these last two here on the bottom, these are the heaviest boxes, so I put them on the ground so I don't have to lift them up over this lip. I just slide them out. This box here is all my hand tools. So this has everything that I've had and I've accumulated over the last 20-something years for duct tools. Some are new, some are old. I could literally make a whole video on just everything that's in here. There's a lot of tools. But that's everything in here, hand tools. This little small box is what I keep all my hardware in for installs, like you know, fasteners and nuts and bolts and washers and just things like that for, you know, doing unistrut and all that. I actually have two more of these. They normally stay right here. One of them is a wire nut box, and then the other one is a screw box. It has all different types of screws in it, but it's at an install job that we did today, so they're not in the van currently. And this last box is just full of Milwaukee power tools. Saw, jigsaw, sawzall, multi-tool, and all the bits and pieces that go along with those tools. So, of course, everything is Milwaukee, red and black. If you couldn't tell already, that's what I like. So that pretty much completes everything that's in this center, which is the majority of what's in this van. I originally planned to have two of these shelves. I was going to put one here as well, but I figured once I installed it, it was going to only give me about this much room in here, and I didn't like that. I want to be able to use this van for service calls, installs, and everything, so I want to be able to put equipment in here, bigger boxes, you know, whatever it is. So I decided to go this route, and I've been super happy with it. I like to keep my van pretty simplistic. I don't like to have a ton of stuff, so this has been working out really nice. All right, so moving on to the back, we have a refrigerant rack here, as you can see. Typically keep two recovery tanks. One is on the install job right now, but so I just have the my Milwaukee light here on the bottom. These are pretty nice if you haven't used those before. But yep, this is a refrigerant rack. It's pretty self-explanatory. On the very top, I keep a box of trash bags and a little small bucket. This is for when I'm brazing. So I've got some heat sink putty here. Typically I have hot block, but I ran out and I had to grab some from a local supplier. So that lives in here. An extra hose for purging. And then I keep a separate regulator specifically for purging. And it has a wet rag in here, so I'll fill this up with water if I need to. But everything lives right in there. So if I'm brazing, I just grab this bucket and now I can go do what I got to do. So coming around here, as you can see, I've got the Fieldpiece manifold set, digital manifolds. This is the 380V. As you can tell, this is a 3-hose manifold. Again, I don't need that extra fourth hose because I don't use the manifolds for pulling vacuums or recovering refrigerant. This is mainly for just testing and charging. So, and as you can see here, I've got the new Fieldpiece hoses on here. I've really been liking these hoses. I've had them for about a week now. It has the ball valve. That's the style that I like. They're all black, and they just have these little color pieces on here telling you what hose is what on each end that you can remove if you want to. But these things are premium. I mean, the rubber hose is very flexible, and I don't know, I've really been enjoying them. And the mechanical threads on them, sometimes you can get hoses and they don't want to thread on very easy. These are smooth, so I like them. All right, so moving on to this wall here, I have a Solderweld canister. So you can get this set up in a lot of different ways, but I have this currently set up for aluminum repair. So if I have to repair any kind of aluminum or aluminum to copper. So nowadays we have a lot of aluminum coils where they make that connection from aluminum to copper to where you can braze it in. We have a lot of leak points there. So with this Alcop braze, you can repair that joint. And then this is, if you're actually making an aluminum repair, you can use this along with the flux that the kit comes with, and you can make that repair. So anyhow, I keep this all together. That way if I have an aluminum repair, I just grab this and I go do what I got to do. So I just hook that there. I've got a small little 4-foot step ladder that slides right in here perfectly. And then a little spray nozzle for blowing out drains or, you know, cleaning stuff off. Nitrogen tank, always rock the aluminum. I like these. And this is an actual mount made by Ranger Designs for your tanks. So it comes with this strap and it is super snug. And as you can see here, I have a second regulator. This regulator is designed for pressure testing, and then the other one is set up for purging. So, all right, so that's pretty much everything on this side, the driver's side of the van. We're gonna move over here to the passenger side now. We've got a wire rack system here. Again, Ranger Designs. Typically I've got, you know, a full roll of 10, 12, 10, 12, and then also keep a roll of 14 and a roll of 18/8 thermostat wire. And then this whole rack is filled with tape. But again, we've been slammed with installs lately, so all of this has to be replenished. So I've actually already went on the app and I've already ordered all my parts. So those are just waiting on will call. I gotta go pick them up tomorrow. Torch kit. This is something pretty cool that actually I learned from Ben Poole with HVAC Tactical. Instead of strapping your torch kit in and constantly having to fool with the straps, I installed magnets on the back side. And of course the van is metal, so there's no strapping. You just push it in there and it's locked in. It's not going anywhere. I've had it like that for months now and it's never budged. So I love having that option where you just grab it and go, not fooling with the strap. So I like using magnets, and I'm gonna be incorporating them more and more as much as I can. Of course, you can see I put some bubbles right here on the end. Just seemed like a good spot to put it. It's nice and snug. It doesn't go anywhere. And then I keep my little transformer ladder, giant ladder, whatever you want to call these things. I love it. It extends into an extension ladder, or you could do like, I think, an 8-foot step ladder. So it's very versatile. And I just got some of these straps, top and bottom, doesn't go anywhere. All right, so moving on down, we have a Milwaukee pack-out plate. It's one of their slimline versions. And then we have 2 battery trays. So this battery tray is set up for M18 batteries. Keep 4 batteries there. And then this one over here is for the M12. So I typically keep 4 batteries there. I think I have one in the vacuum currently. So this is pretty nice, having all the batteries in one spot, easy to get to. The next thing I plan on doing is incorporating a charger right here. So I can come over here, push a button that's connected to the inverter, the battery turns, or the charger turns on, and I can just charge my batteries all right here, not having to do anything. So that's the next step. The next thing I have hanging here, Milwaukee, this is their top off is what they call it. Takes an M18 battery, and then it gives you 140 watts of AC power. You have USB-A, USB-C. So if you need to charge any of your tools on the job, laptop, iPad, or that transfer pump that I was talking about, this is how I power it up. So I don't need to run an extension cord. I'll show you guys that later. So this thing is really nice to have. Just has a little hook, so that's where I put it. Makes sense to have it next to the batteries. And then I've got some magnetic little things here. Everybody needs a little, you know, what do they call these things? A little screw tray, hardware tray, but it's magnetic. You stick it on the disconnect, and as you're taking the unit apart, throw all your screws on here and you don't lose them. So it's nice to have that. And then here's a couple parts that are offered by Supco. So this is what's called their Coolpressor. It's got a huge magnet right here, and then you connect your hose. So let's say you have a compressor that's out on internals, it's overheated, and you need to cool it down. Well, instead of trying to hold the hose there forever, hook your hose up to it, boom, it sticks to it really good, and it just, the water pours out around it, and it does a great job. So I also use this to cool down recovery tanks when we're outside and it's hot while I'm recovering, because you want to keep that tank cooled down, right? So I use that as well. So this is called the Coolpressor by Supco. And then in the commercial world, these things are awesome. So this is actually made by Door Jam, but Supco partnered up with them. But it's just, it's this rubberized material, and as you can see, it has 2 holes, but it's designed to wrap around the door. You put one hole on one side of the handle and the other side of the handle, and it covers that striker. So that way, if you're going up onto a roof or a mechanical room, you don't get locked out, because that's typically what happens. But yeah, I just let that live there. If I'm on a commercial job, I'll just grab it. And the last thing, I just have one of these paper towel holders. It's magnetic, it comes off really easy. I think I got that from Harbor Freight. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description for most of these things. And if I miss something, just let me know down in the comment section below. But that pretty much completes today's video. I really hope you got something out of it and you enjoyed this content. If you have any questions, again, leave it down in the comment section. DM me on Instagram. It's the same handle, qualityhvacr. And that's pretty much it. Give it a thumbs up if you guys like what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, see you guys later.